So pretty much today's a day where they're just letting you kind of do whatever you want here at Bonnie Springs because it's the last day. And so they're just really being lenient on everything.
Hey guys, it's Dan French. I'm just following up here. So this is where we started out. This is where you would enter the train to enter Bonnie Springs. Bonnie McGow purchased the ranch in 1952, started out with horseback riding in a restaurant, and ultimately they put in a zoo and a motel back in the 1980s. So the way to get in here is usually with that train. Ooh, look at that. You don't want to touch that, guys. You don't want to even mess with that. That tear you up right there. So there's two ways to get in. You got this train tracks to the right. You also have this path here to the left. And it's kind of unique because you got a little creek right here. And this creek is really something that brought me back as a kid because I used to, play in creeks a lot. We used to do a lot of outdoor activities like this. So it really brought me back to my kid days. Then you look at this sheriff right here. He's looking around, seeing if anybody's stealing anything. So, you don't want to mess with that guy right there. But anyways, Bonnie Springs, it really grew and it came somewhat of a culture of Las Vegas, and right here where you enter into Bonnie Springs, there's a little jail here to the right. And this is where they would, obviously back in the day, if you got caught, you'd be put out here as a spectator saying, look at you, you got caught, and really show, why, or really just kind of put you out there on blast, if you want to call it. So you look over here, you got, a lot of old time buildings, a lot of old artifacts. It's just unique. Obviously, some of this stuff been sitting here quite a while. And, you got the zoo that we were going to go to. You saw the sign right there for that. But a lot of old buildings, it kind of reminds me somewhat of like a Knott's Berry Farm theme. Very limited, but it does remind me of that. You got a candy store right there, so you can go in and get your candy on. You got a lot of different buildings you can go in and take a look at. This right here, it was an old chapel. And, this is what it looked like. Kind of cool, though. It was kind of unique. You got a miner's restaurant right there. So right across the way, you have a restaurant. The chapel was kind of nice. It looks pretty. So then right here you have, this was like an old antique, really area here. And this was a lot of different artifacts and stuff. I'm curious if there's a stamp mill in here. I want to show you guys this. Got a lot of pictures here on the wall that just had old pictures of just maybe some outlaws and some people that, had some history. And but this stamp mill was pretty unique. We're going to go take a look at this. I just want to show you guys here some pictures, some of the things that they put in here, as far as just people in general, Calamity Jan right there with the gun, it's all out right there. Look at that. So anyways, this stamp mill was something that I wanted to take a look at. Look how big this thing is. And, so they brought in a lot of stuff like I was talking about. They auctioned a lot of stuff off, and it wasn't just this, these big artifacts or these big antiques. They also auctioned off a lot of signage and a lot of just different miscellaneous stuff about, having a piece or culture of what Bonnie Springs was. It's kind of funny. I really didn't know how big or really how much of a tradition it was. A lot of people, especially on Facebook or just in general on social media, was saying, hey guys, don't miss out on your last day to see this, because everybody knew that Bonnie Springs was something that was a traveling destination here. It's definitely a popular place to go, especially bringing your kids. Your kids are always something that they'll remember this. They'll remember what's Bonnie Springs, especially with this zoo that we're going to look at. Look at that old air compressor right there, guys. Big art, definitely an antique. But it's kind of interesting, everybody, about a month after this thing closed, after Bonnie Springs closed, they did a lot of auctioning off. And there's a wax museum right there. So they did a lot of auctioning off on things, and it just really, it gave everybody here in Vegas an opportunity to purchase something. This right here is Johnny Fife. Here lies Johnny Fife. You got an old graveyard over here, and it's what they did. So now we entered the zoo here, guys. I just want to kind of go around here, we got us a lot of different animals that you could look at. So it looks like a kangaroo right there, I believe. And so anyways, they had a lot of interesting animals over here. It wasn't as extensive as a normal zoo, but it had a lot of unique, different animals that maybe you haven't seen before. Stuff, a couple of things that you haven't really been a part of. But it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't an extensive zoo. But to be in Vegas and to have all of this in one area was pretty unique, So anyways, there's a lot of different animals here to look at. So going through this process, and then you look at this. There's a black wolf right there. It looks pretty crazy right there. I mean, he's actually pretty timid. Obviously he's been around people before, but see, like right here, he's almost timid of people, and maybe it's just because he grew up around people and he doesn't want nobody to bother him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want nobody to bother me either, especially if I'm sitting in a cage and people are just constantly looking at me. But yeah, I mean, you look at these little ponies here, you got a goat right there. So just a lot of different things that has tradition to it. And, the big hog over here, that's a fat hog right there. So, it's just one of those things we wanted to visit here before it actually closed, just to say that we were here. And, that's a unique bird right there. It's definitely it's not an ostrich. So if anybody knows what type of bird that is, you can let me know. Cause I don't follow up with birds like that, but this is, definitely along those lines of being an ostrich, but I don't think it's not an ostrich. I think ostriches are actually a lot bigger than that. So, but it looks like it's the family of, that bloodline, but that's, like I said, it's unique. We didn't see a lot of these. I haven't seen any bird like this. There's another goat right there. So feeding the goats. And, like I said, it's a good kids experience. So if anybody out there, if you have some type of atmosphere or some type of place like this, especially if you grew up here, or you grew up in the area, definitely, you obviously want to continuously bring kids to stuff that they can remember. I remember stuff when I was a kid that my parents took me to, and it was a lot of stuff that was related to animals or zoo or something, because it's just different. You don't see this every day. There it is right there. That's the British Columbian black wolf. So that's the actual proper name for that wolf. Then you got some parakeets over here. So, or not parakeets. These are, I don't know what these are. What are those? So anyways, here we go. We got it looks like that was the bus out of, looked like the bus out of the Zombieland movie. Everybody's trying to skip town. So here at the end of this, we had a gentleman that was getting hung, and it was one of those things that I'm not going to show you the hanging, but it was pretty good because these guys really got into it. It's really part of the crowd. They brought people in. So this is that old family tradition, easy way to bring in family and make them a part of all the experience. It's crazy because if you look at the background of these mountains and everything, it really looks like you're in the old Wild Wild West, even though everybody's dressed up modern these days. But I mean, if you look at the background and you look at the area and everything that's in it, it really kind of brought you back a little bit. And I thought it was a good experience for kids, especially being the last day. You just want to make sure that, your kid experiences this, that if they ever bring this up, they're like, hey, what happened to Bonnie Springs, or what is Bonnie Springs, if somebody brings it up. So this guy did get hung at the end, and we ended up taking pictures with him. So guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, always subscribe to my channel. I'm going to consistently be putting out stuff from Vegas. Also, like I said, I'm a loan officer with Guaranteed Rate, and I'm constantly putting out social media information. So if you guys have any questions, obviously comment in the section below. look for future videos coming out on my YouTube channel, Loan to Keys. And if you guys have any other questions, any other comments, anything, then let me know. And thank you so much for watching my video.